I get this question a lot, especially from other Disney moms like myself with younger kids, and that is Disney actually worth it at this age? And I think it's a fair question because it's a big investment and it's not always the easiest trip. When I was traveling with my young kids, even with my baby when she was 3 months old, this question just never crossed my mind because I had a child that we had already traveled to Disney World with plenty of times. We've been traveling to Disney World since my now 7 year old was a year and a half. So once we had baby number two, it just wasn't a question anymore that I was asking myself and especially not anyone else. With that being said, I think that I have a little bit of experience and this is right in my wheelhouse and I want to share with you guys what I have learned. I do not think that there is one simple answer because it really just depends on your expectations, your kids, and what you want the experience to feel like. But I can share what it has felt like for us going with younger kids and how my perspective has changed over time. One of the biggest things is that it's not going to look how you expect unless you have been there with young kids multiple times and you kind of just already know what to expect. If that was the case, you probably wouldn't actually be asking that question or even on this video. The thing is that Disney with young kids just doesn't always look like what we picture. You imagine full days, big moments, doing everything, but in reality, it's usually a bit slower than someone who doesn't have a baby. It's shorter days, more breaks, fewer rides, and sometimes that can feel disappointing at first if you are used to experiencing Disney, child-free before you became a mom. And if you are expecting something else or expecting your Disney days to look like a Disney goer that's not a parent. But as a Disney parent or as a Disney mom, once you adjust to that pace, it kind of just starts to feel different in a very, very good way. And it's something that I have truly learned to love. One funny thing that I always say when I'm talking to like all my other Disney friends is that I'm not a Disney adult. I'm a Disney mom. And they're like, what's the difference? It's the same thing. And we joke. We joke about it. But here's the thing, you guys. I truly believe there's a difference. Disney moms can't Disney like Disney adults. And if you disagree with me, comment down below. But if you agree with me, give this video a thumbs up. Young kids experience Disney differently than adult. And for that reason, adults traveling with young kids are also going to experience Disney differently than adults without young kids. Toddlers and young kids don't see Disney the same way as older kids do either, like teenagers. They're not thinking about checking things off a list. They're noticing small things, the music, the scenery, the colors, the sensory, simple interactions. And honestly, sometimes the most exciting thing for them isn't a ride, but it's just being there. I think that this is why the question comes up so often because Disney, it's expensive. And when you are spending that much, you want it to feel worth it. And for some families, that means waiting until kids are older. For others, it's something they choose to experience now. Neither is wrong, but I do think it helps to go into it with realistic expectations for what you're actually paying for. For some Disney parents, Disney World can actually feel overwhelming. And I traveled to Disney World multiple times a week before we actually lived near Disney property. We were traveling multiple times per year. Now we're going multiple times per week. I have experienced Disney with kids traveling across the country in an airplane, as well as just driving 20 minutes away. And with that being said, there are still some days when Disney can feel overwhelming. It's not every day, but the reality is that Disney with young kids, especially like toddlers, babies, sometimes it can be a lot depending on the weather, the crowds, the stimulation, what you have planned for that day. And for moms, there's a lot to manage throughout the day. So if you're someone who already feels stretched or overwhelmed easily, that is something to consider. It doesn't mean don't go, but it does mean that you might want to plan a slower and simpler version of the trip. In my opinion, the moments truly make it worth it. For me, it's worth doing. It's the small moments, watching your child react to something new, seeing them recognize a character, seeing their little faces the first time that they're on the Disney rides like Dumbo or It's a Small World, even Pirates of the Caribbean. The little interactions that you wouldn't get anywhere else. Those moments are simple, but they stay with you. And one thing that I have noticed is that when traveling with, babies, if you start them early, if you are a Disney loving family and you just typically travel and vacation at Disney World often, the smaller you start with your little ones, is what I'm trying to say, the more they kind of just get accustomed to it and used to it. And even starting my baby off at 3 months is different from starting my son off when he was almost 2 years old. You kind of just notice and see the difference in their love and their joy for Disney World itself, the rides and things like that. Because for my 2-year-old son, it was something he'd never seen before. But for my now almost 2-year-old daughter, she has been to Disney World more times than I can even count. One of her favorite rides is Frozen Ever After. She loves that ride. She loves Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and she has loved that one since she was a year old. And I've seen many different, conversations surrounding Disney World, the rides, what it's like for babies. And it's, really just depending on you, your children, what they like and their temperament and things like that. But again, I truly believe that the younger you start them off, the easier it's going to be for you, especially when introducing them to new rides. If they have a sibling, all the better, because some children, they get on those rides for the first time and they hate it. And we have yet to experience that with either of our children thus far, and that's completely different from how I was growing up as a child. And so basically what I'm trying to say is, children eventually get used to it. Even if the very first time you take them young, it can be a lot. I would like to say that the second time it gets better, the third time even better, by the fourth time they're like a pro, and you find what really works for your family, the perfect nap times, the perfect time of day to go, the perfect snacks to bring or to purchase at the parks and eat, the perfect places to go and get downtime even when the baby care centers are crowded, because sometimes, ironically, the baby care center isn't always the best way to go get downtime unless you are a nursing parent. And this is a video that I feel like I'm going to have to make separately, because a lot of parents go thinking that the baby care center is the place to go if you need downtime after a long day. I have found this to be true in Universal, because a lot of Universal goers don't actually utilize the baby care center, surprisingly. And it's because it is definitely like a further walk and a little bit harder to find, and it's smaller and it is less, open. Going into the baby care center at Universal, it's always a quiet, intimate experience versus Disney. Sometimes it is overwhelming unless I'm in the nursing care center, where typically everyone goes in there, feed their babies, they're quiet, they leave out. Every once in a while you get a parent who is kind of just like, I'm just gonna stay in here all day long. My baby's not eating, but we're just relaxing. But that's not always the case. Now, in the lobby area, especially particularly at Magic Kingdom, it is, I tell you, sometimes it can be loud. The kids are running around, TV's on, the dads are in there, the moms are in there, the grandmas, the younger kids, the older kids. It can be a lot. And so, if you want to know the perfect places to go and get downtime with your little ones in the Disney parks outside of the baby care center, go ahead and subscribe to this video, because I'm going to be doing a separate video talking about the perfect places to go in Disney World with young kids. And if you haven't seen it already, also watch this video next, where I'm telling you guys the best Disney World rides to do with little ones as well. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it has been helpful. Let me know what you think. Is Disney World worth it with young children? I'm going to give it a big fat yes, but I want to know what you guys think too.